we're not just talking about missiles, we're also talking about drones. What role do you see the drones playing compared to the missiles?
Yeah, the drones have been a lot more active in this war because this is also about exhausting, or at least trying to exhaust, U.S. and Gulf allies' interceptor capabilities. Iran is hoping that the intense use of drones on certain civilian or population assets would prompt them to, expend interceptors that they know are valuable, and that may be kind of one of the impetuses to conclude the war on the part of the United States and its allies. So it's somewhat about attrition. It's partly about punishment.
Yeah, and just to pick up on those interceptors, because the drones are inexpensive, just quickly talk through that dynamic and how it becomes a competition between kind of levels of stocks of drones versus interceptors.
Yeah, the Iranians really love to covet about how expensive it is to fight this war with them compared to the kind of marginal costs that they have to pay in order to manufacture these drones and these kind of capabilities. The United States has a limited amount of munitions, whereas for Iran, they can produce these kind of Shahhed drones. I think that the drones really encompass a lot of the constraints Iran has. Cut off from international markets, cut off from a lot of advanced technology, but able to build and quite rapidly these low-cost drones that can actually do quite a bit of damage when they're used.
What kind of stocks do they have of them, missiles on the one hand and drones on the other? At what point in a conflict could they start to run low?
It's been clear that Iran has been conserving some of their missiles. What is interesting is actually at the outset, Iran has been using a smaller amount of missiles for each salvo. And additionally, we don't know the state of Iran's launchers, and that's the real bottleneck here. Iran was producing ballistic missiles, and it actually tried to reconstitute some ballistic missile capability, especially mid-range ballistic missiles, after the 12-day war. But the launchers have been a perennial issue for Iran, and we don't know how much Iran has managed to repair those.
And in terms of stocks of the drones, and are drones so cheap and easy to make that can they be churning them out in high numbers now in the situation they're in right now?
I think some of the drone factories were actually targeted in previous strikes. We don't know the exact number of Iranian drones, but that they've used drones throughout this war, with actually little concern about conserving them. It does seem like Iran has a sizable stockpile there. I mean, it is relatively inexpensive to build these drones, actually what they might actually cost. I mean, I would say around $50,000 to $70,000 US per drone, depending on the model. But that's still very inexpensive compared to, an SM-3 or an SM-2 or an SM-6 kind of interceptor that the United States, we don't know the full extent of damage on Iran's missiles. That might play into the calculus.